Alrighty, guys. It is almost 3:30. I'm going to start this wrap up a little bit early because I have a meeting coming up right at 12:30 or 3:30 my time. So wrapping it up a little bit early. And yeah, look at at this crazy stuff. So I was just talking about in the last update, I was talking about that potential ES fake out to the upside. And first time when we're actually talking about it, that was right about here, right the 130 time frame, and it never materialized. Yeah, I can run it down, so I canceled those two orders I had working, and then I sat there watching it, and then you can see here they do it again, fourth time to the level. They started running it higher, so okay, fine. So I'm still looking at in the mode like I'm waiting for a fake out to suck me in on the long side. So this time I get short here at the midpoint. Yeah, I'm fading a little bit of heat. I had an option to get short or for another rotation back here. I mean, if I swing this back a little bit. So I get short right there midpoint. My stop is outside that rotation up here. So a fairly big stop. And I have a working order up here against that prior mode for a potential repair. So that's what the trade setup was. So I'm sitting there waiting. This one comes out, doesn't quite get far enough to fill me, and then it starts failing, and runs down to the mean. And at the mean there, it's stalling. You can see it pretty clearly. It just stalls there at the mean for a bit, doesn't go anywhere, and then you have this choice to either get out of it, which is normally the pretty aggressive exit. That one, the Tablet, but since they are slopping and running the range, the Tablet doesn't do much. So I got out. Yeah, I just got out of that trade at that point. Took my profit. I'm up 48 now in those two trades, but what was that, 25 bucks worth of profit or something? But it's good enough. So I got that, and then I just kind of sat here and watched this. Out of nowhere. And I figured I was down for the day. So I had two trades on the ES up 48 and I have four trades on the NASDAQ up 40. Okay, fine. That's a good enough day. And I'm going to stop there. And then I'm just seeing this whole thing take off and it's just, everything is lagging at the time. So it starts happening and and nothing is keeping up. I have a different chart up on a different computer and I see that one ripping. And the NASDAQ just freaking ripping away. And that's like, okay, this is crazy. Some news came out, and of course, I like it. Like 10 minutes later, you see, yeah, we have a potential deal with Greenland, no more tariffs, and that's it. So what an anticlimax with all these people getting all with their hair on fire. Remember what I said this morning? That's a negotiation tactic. Market just as usual freaks out about it. Everyone in Europe freaks out about it. Everyone runs around with their hair on fire and then it turns out to be an absolute non-event. It's just they just can't figure this guy out. That's what he does. Like it or not, but that's what he does. So when he says the crazy stuff like that, just have to take it with a grain of salt and then look at it as an opening gambit in a negotiation. So anyway, so up it went big time. I didn't chase this one. This was a little bit too crazy, but I mean, if you got in on that early run, if you could, I mean, it's pretty. You had to be pretty gnarly, pretty willing to just step in front of it and just kind of hop on that bandwagon. But I don't tend to do that, even if I see it as I was seeing it happening. But since I don't know what is driving it, you don't know if it's going to go straight up and straight down or what's going to happen with it. So I don't usually chase it like that. But man, that was a nice run. So they ran it higher, and at this point, I think all the issues with what's been grinding the market down is kind of gone. It's kind of disappeared like that. So on the ES now, capital flow, we are right back up here in this upper range again. So this whole thing to the downside completely reversed. We're right up here in this upper distribution again. If they can hold the 68 90s, 80 to 90s again, and as you can see, if I on this guy 68 on the F2 here, 68 90s here. If they can hold that guy and hold the 6900s, these two support areas now, we'll be in good shape. I would key in on that three-letter ledge, DKL. You see that ledge right there? I'm going to adjust. That's going to be my upper level for tomorrow. So that's going to be the 6910. It's probably like 6910. Going to be the area which I'm going to start thinking about. If they can hold that one, I'm going to stay on the long side and see if this turns into a little rally. And if they can't, if they trade below that 69.10, I would be more inclined to just stay range bound. But unless it starts trading in down below that 68.90s, I'm going to be range bound or staying on the long side. Below that 68.90s or 85 to 90s, I'll be back on the short side. But let's see how this develops. So you can tell all this hullabaloo on the downside, it got absolutely totally reversed because of one truth from Trump saying that they had the potential framework of a deal. There you go. Nasdaq, same story there. Absolutely crazy. So I would start on the long side right now, the ES. Look to buy weakness all the way down here to that 6890s. If they close below 6900, I'm staying range bound. Below the 6880s, I would be more leaning towards the short side. On the Nasdaq, same story there. Looking to buy weakness. Watch that 470, 460 level right now. That's, I think, is a better level to try to get long against. You're going to have good resistance at the 500 as well. So these two support areas are the ones to watch for potential rotation down. And then they look at capital flow on the Nasdaq. They're also right back up, right back head to that attract. They're backing off a little bit, but as long as I hold above this area, the 420 to 430s, I think we're in good shape to stay to be back on the range bound, at least on the Nasdaq. And I would start with a slight bias to the upside in the overnight, given what the news is, and hopefully there's no other news events which comes out which messes this up. But that's kind of the way I would look at it. So yeah, big move to the upside, the M period reversing it down, and we'll see if they can hold these two areas, the 25,500 and the 460s. We may be in good shape. Below those two, we go back range bound. Okay. So that's the ES and the Nasdaq. Everything looks great to get started in the overnight. Biases to the upside, given the little announcement they got. But that's how usually that whole negotiation thing goes. So I'm up 48 on the ES, 40 on the Nasdaq, and a few trades. That's not a bad day. It's a good enough day. And then back on the ES, on the bonds. Sorry, bond market. Nice pop to the upside on that guy, given the information. So they pop pretty good. They'll run up here, and then that means that the yields come down. So they're back to 115s now, and that's a good sign. That just means that there's a little bit of action going on there, and the bond market is reacting positively to that information. So we'll see how this whole thing shakes out. We're in January. The earnings season is still upon us, and we have a little bit of external news driving the market. So it could go either which way here. So markets are back up again. Early in the morning, the midday, they were kind of down. So going into tomorrow, though, remember, Thursday we are getting a GDP read. That's not the fourth quarter, the third quarter read. Jobless claims all at 8:30. Then we get the personal income and outlays. That's your PCE index. Getting that for 2 months. Coming out tomorrow at 10. So that could also be moving the market. So 8:30 to 10, we have potential market moving news coming out tomorrow. But the bond market to the upside, yields down. The general stock market or indices here are to the upside in a big way. Let's see how far they're going to retrace. But man, this was something, right? If you were in the short, if you're trying to hop on a short trade here and then you get run over like that, that's one of those things where you're in, you get stopped out, and you didn't know what even happened, what hit me. That's how crazy that is. Anyway, we'll leave it there, guys. And sorry, I did this a little bit early. I'm recording it, so in case I missed you, I'll post it here as soon as possible, so you can listen in if you want to hear it, if you missed something. Anyway, we'll leave it there. I'll see you guys back in the morning. We'll go at this again. Alrighty, guys, later.